Good morning. Happy Saturday. Saturday is the day that is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is currently at the 24th degree in retrograde in Aquarius. Saturn is, in astrology, the way we process astrology, Saturn is often kind of cultivated as like the enemy, because of the energy of discipline and in a lot of ways, Saturn is the enemy to our old ways of being. Saturn is the enemy to our mediocrity. Saturn is the enemy to our undisciplined, unstructured ways of thinking and being. Saturn is the enemy to our belief or misunderstanding of how this reality works. Saturn is the gatekeeper. Saturn is time. In like Roman or Greek mythology, Saturn was Kronos, and Kronos ate his babies, right? And the way they tell the story is really gory. Like Kronos was the god, the father, and he ate his babies because he never wanted them to grow up and take over his throne, right? But that's really about time and how the distractions of the masculine, because in this mythology, Saturn is a masculine, when cosmically, ancient wise, Saturn is the feminine. So, what the Western world did was they took ancient understandings of this mythology and these archetypes and turned them on their backs. And it's fine because it works either way, right? But I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying understanding what we're dealing with when we're dealing with the Saturn energy. And so when you are not disciplined, when you are not structured, when you don't have a clear idea, Saturn will eat up your time. It will eat up your creations. It will eat up your future if you don't have a clear structure and focus and discipline and protection around what it is you're creating. And so Saturn asks you to cross your T's and dot your I's. So for instance, for me on a Saturn day, I'm running a Saturn class right now where we're working on healing our karma through the feminine lineage. And so every morning on Saturday, I get up at 4:00 in the morning and I sweep the floors and I take out the trash and I bathe and I do my rituals in order to generate the energy and the power so that I can begin then executing what is required for the people that I'm working with in this cycle of healing the feminine energy. Healing the feminine lineage, because these patterns that we have, whether we know it or not, whether we're conscious of it or not, and we usually are not, come through our feminine lineage, come through what we subconsciously witnessed in our mothers or grandmothers. We don't see it clearly because we think ourselves separate, but literally we absorb the energies from our mothers and we begin to then act that out. That's why we get, 35, 40 years old and you're like, oh, that was my mother. Like, oh, I'm becoming my mother, because that energy is always in place. And in order to change it, in order to transmute it, you have to be deliberate in doing something different. So Saturn is about your time, your discipline, your structure, your focus. And if you are not conscious, that those patterns get instilled in you through your relationship to the feminine. That's why in Hebrew culture, the lineage is passed through the mother. The energy is passed through the mother, and the energy is always passed through the mother. Just so you're clear, the feminine, the blueprint of who we are, which is Saturn and Aquarius, the blueprint, your core, like who you are before you even know who you are, is your blueprint, comes through your feminine lineage. It comes through your mother. And when you understand that, then you can begin to do the work to reprogram it. So with Saturn in Aquarius at the 24th degree, the 24th degree is the degree of humility. And we think that humility means making yourself smaller for somebody else. That is not what humility means. Humility means understanding that you have a significant role that impacts everyone else. Humility means understanding that the thing that you are here to do, that no one else can do, that only you are capable of doing, will impact everyone around you. And if you do not fucking show up and do it, if you do not understand your orders, if you do not understand your DNA codes, if you do not understand or have the curiosity to understand how you function, then your ignorance, your misunderstanding of yourself impacts everyone around you. Everyone around you. We are all in this together. We are all a part of something that is a collective experience. No matter what the fuck you think. You might think, oh, it's all me and I got this. And you might be in this experience of trying to get the bag or trying to get the man. But everything that you do, everything that you are focused on is somehow impacting everyone around you. So, if you've ever worked on a team or you have had teamwork, in your family or at a job, or you've done rituals where you have to really understand how everyone impacts everyone, or if you want to just understand your body, right? You can see it in your body. If some part of your body is weak, if you have a weak abdomen, your back is going to hurt. Why? Because your abdomen is not strong enough to do the work. So your back is working harder for your abdomen. If you break one of your arms, then the other arm that's still strong has to work harder to compensate for the arm that is broken. You have to understand this, right? So if you are not functioning at the level of as how your soul intends for you to do, somebody else in your experience is picking up the slack where you are not doing what you are meant to do. And this is why we have to do the deep spiritual work. This is why we have to understand our natal chart. This is why we have to understand the family system that we were born into so that we can understand how we're supposed to function. Maybe some of the systems that we were born into are working in the negative and not actually functioning the way that they would best function if they were functioning appropriately. But if you are not doing the work to understand how your energy functions, you don't know that your energy is working in the negative. And so when something happens to you, you're like, oh, somebody did this and somebody did that, because you don't understand how you're creating your reality. You don't understand that you are in charge and you're misusing your energy. So for instance, I know that I have some energy that runs through me negatively because I understand it, right? And I'll attract something into my life that occurs initially at something that I don't like. Like I'll attract something. For instance, when my child was diagnosed with trisomy 21, initially that felt like, oh, I don't like that. That's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. But when I started understanding how this system works, and I'm like, oh, I'm creating everything that comes. So nothing is a mistake. So how is it that this experience with this child is in service to my becoming? How is it that this is actually serving me? Because this is a part of my blueprint for me to have a child that has a different way of being than most other children function. It's not a mistake. And the reason I had to understand that is because when I started researching cosmology, I realized that there are no mistakes here. There are no mistakes. We think there are, but they don't exist. It's not real. And that's the hardest thing to wrap your mind around, especially when you're facing negative energies that occur as something that is undesirable. But because we are living in this world that is based on white supremacy, that's based on duality, this is good and this is bad. We want this, we don't want that. All of that comes from white supremacy because it keeps you at odds with yourself. That is the purpose of white supremacy, to keep you at odds and divided against yourself. To keep you at, and how do they do it? Women are weak and men are strong. Men are dominant and women should follow men. By giving us these narratives that have us at war with ourselves. White is superior. Black is inferior. Rich is good. Poor is bad. All of these narratives that cut off the nuances of who we are, that keep us out of being able to express being able to express and experience the nuances and the experience of wholeness. Wholeness is light and dark and everything in between. Wholeness is yin and yang and everything in between. Wholeness is masculine and feminine and everything in between, and everything that is the spectrum. And when we are able to embody the nuances, the nuances and the varied levels and all of, it seems like gay people have taken the image of the the rainbow and made it theirs. But really what it is the rainbow of every level. And that rainbow is also applied to the chakra system, the root chakra, the first chakra, the first chakra is red. The second chakra is orange. The third chakra is yellow. The fourth chakra is green. The fifth chakra is blue. This chakra is purple or violet, and the last chakra is violet. All of that is the spectrum and everything in between, black and white, and all the colors in between, and their energies that are associated to these and their various levels. And here's the thing about the universe, it's just in a constant state of recreating itself. So everything is within everything, and all the variations of everything is within everything. So we have to understand that there is really nothing for us to be at odds with, except the fact that we are at odds with things, right? Literally, there's nothing to be at odds with except the fact that you are at odds with things. And this gets you through the various nuances of your own emotional body, of your own mental body, so that you can begin to embrace and experience the fullness of who you are. And Saturn is cause and effect. And so when you meet resistance, you have to be able to ask, what is the cause and the effect of this resistance? Why am I in resistance to this? And get curious about it. And the resistance will show up like, somebody did something to me. That's not right. This is wrong, right? So right now, the resistance is the Supreme Court has said women don't have rights over their bodies. So we have to look individually and go, where did that start in me? Where did it start that I'm experiencing a projection that would have me feel like I don't have the right over my body? Where did I create this? And it may have started with your great-great-grandmother. You might talk to all the women in your family and realize that all of them have felt like they don't have dominion over themselves. And so then you get to see how you inherited it, how it became yours. And then you have to do the work on that to shift it. And this is why I offer the classes. You can't escape this stuff, you guys. It ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. And I offer it on so many different levels. I offered the Saturn retrograde class. Come do the work to heal your ancestry. Come do the work to look at yourself. We have a certain amount of time to get in. And then I offered the same because it's all Cancer energy. The new moon in Cancer energy is about your feminine lineage. So I'm going to offer that if you guys want to come and do the new moon meditation, which we're going to do on Monday evening, so that another opportunity for you to get in to understand how this, you can join that. I'll create a link for it for you to join so that you can begin to do the work to cultivate your feminine energy, your feminine power through the energy of your lineage. There's no other way to access it. And so Saturn in Aquarius at the 24th degree. Saturn is your discipline, your time. And Aquarius is the mind of God, the original idea, the reason your soul signed up to come here. Now, you've probably long forgotten what it is, or maybe you haven't. But maybe it's something you've not been cultivating because the world took over and they distracted you and said, you need to go to college and you need to do this and you need to make money and you need to get married. All those things are distractions from who you truly are at your core. Maybe those things are a part of who you are at your core, but they are not the primary thing. The primary thing is about your relationship to your contract here on this planet Earth. What did you come here to deliver? What did you come here to offer? What did you come here to bring? And what are the things that are in the way that are keeping you from doing that? That is Saturn. Where do you need to discipline yourself? Where do you need to overcome? Where do you need to take responsibility? Where do you need to stop hiding? So that you can get to the true essence of who you are. The moon today is in Taurus. We're about to have a new moon in Cancer. So the moon in Taurus and the sun in Cancer is literally about, this energy is so intense. It's really, really, really painful energy. So you have to give yourself permission to be courageous, to feel into this stuff. And ask yourself the deep questions. What is it that I'm feeling? Yesterday, I had the experience of watching myself. I want my cats to become trained to be indoor cats. And they're eager. They really want to do it. And so I've been taking them out separately every morning for like 15 or 20 minutes. And then yesterday, I got a wild hair up my ass to take them out together. And they were like, we about to get this bitch now because she cannot handle us both. And sure enough, Osset broke out. Like I had him, this is not a good joke, but I had him leashed around. I had him bondaged up and literally Osset got out. She literally did a backflip out and I was like, okay, there it is. There it is. There's nothing I can do. And the thing about Osset is that I cannot control her. She's not led by food. She's not led by food. She is her own independent self. She's self-thinking. She's self-regulating. And I noticed that when we're in my apartment, which is 1,000 feet, 1,000 square feet. But my aunt in the apartment, my aunt is tracking with me. If I say food, she with me, whatever it is. So my aunt didn't run away and I could walk up to her but Osset was like, you cannot come touch me while this is all me. So I had to watch myself and I had to watch the part of me that was angry. At first I wanted to attack her. I was so angry. She was not coming. I went and got some treats. She still wasn't coming. And I had to watch the part of me that wanted to control her. That was so angry because I could not dominate her. I could not make her do what I wanted her to do. So I had to sit my ass down outside and just allow it. So she just did what she wanted to do. She hid. She wasn't coming out. And then after about 20 or 30 minutes, I was like, let me just go get my aunt. Let me just let it all go. And I brought my aunt out and I just said, okay, y'all, I'm going to sit here and y'all do. And my aunt raced up and down the yard and ran and I smelled everything. And I literally was just like, wow. And it felt really amazing to just allow myself to release my need to control and to trust like what would emerge. And what emerged was your imagination. They are tapped into you. So you can trust this and allow it. So at some point I was able to, like, I could get my aunt, I can give her a treat and she would come. She would come wherever I was and take the treat because I have more dominion over her. So even outside, she's concerned with me. So, but Osset, I couldn't do that. But at some point I was able to take my aunt close to Osset, and then Osset would sniff her a little bit, but go away. She was like, I know that you're trying to dominate me and I'm not allowing it. So eventually we sat out there for about 2 hours, and then I bought my aunt in. I picked her up and bought her in the house. And then I opened the doors, and I had to let Osset come in when she was ready. I had to let her, and she did. I opened the door. She came to the front door when she was ready. Maybe it was 5 minutes later. It wasn't that much later, but I could not force her, not with food. She did it on her own time, on her terms. And so I had to realize, but what I did do was I envisioned. I asked her spirit, what can I do? And she said, open the doors. In my imagination, I used my imagination to communicate with her and ask what she said, open the doors and I will come on my own. So I did that. I opened the doors. I let the door open with a rock, and she did. So I communicated with her from my own feminine energy, from my feminine power. We've got to really learn. And if your feminine power if you're filled with doubt or worry or trauma, it won't work. You won't trust it. Or it'll work sometime, but not all the time. It'll work occasionally. It'll work when you least expect it to, but not right. So I literally did that. But listen, I've been doing rituals for years to get myself to understand how this energy works. And it worked. And she came in the house, and that was it. And here's the thing, now she's smelling herself. She's more into herself than, so even in the house now, I can't really get her because she is coming into her own power. And so the way we will communicate now is telepathically, because she is not connected to my physical person in the way that my aunt is. And that's okay. She's a sentient being. I get it. So what we're doing is literally understanding, with the sun in Cancer, it's important for us to recognize, for me, I'm just remembering what I remembered as a child. What did I come here for? What was important to me as a child? I came here to do magic. That's what I came here for. I came here to be in unionship with the magical forces of this universe. That's what I was born for. I knew it when I was a child. It hasn't changed as I'm a grown-ass woman. It's all I'm interested in. It's all I'm interested in. And what that means is that I get to manipulate the physical world reality from inside of myself. And I have had to clear the energy so that I could create a clear understanding and connection from the inside to the outside. So, when we understand this power, we don't have to be afraid of external authority. It has no power over us. When we understand this power as women, this feminine, subtle power, no one can control us because the telepathy is real, okay? When we understand this power, we have dominion over all things because we align ourselves to the rivers, the oceans, the trees, the air, the fire, the ether. When we understand this power, we can run interference through our consciousness. And this is the power of the feminine. So, with that, remember who you were born to be. Remember who you were born to be. I encourage you to come get readings. You can come and get readings. I will create the link for the new moon meditation. You guys can sign up for that. The Saturn retrograde class begins. The Neptune retrograde class begins on June 28th. I will put the link here for that. We're going to be working on transmuting our subconscious connections. This is very powerful work, very subtle work, and really understanding your energy from the inside to the external. This class is going to be, it's $33 a month starting June 28th to December 3rd. It'll be $33 a month, and you can join that. I will put the links here today. So there are going to be two things. There's going to be the new moon meditation. That's on Monday evening. And then there's going to be the Neptune retrograde class. For those of you who are already a part of the sun, some of you have already signed up and you are part of my courses where there's a package for $220 a month. You get all of the retrograde classes and all of the moon classes, where you get to participate in all of them for $220 a month. Or you can do all the classes individually, like you don't have to do them all. But the retrogrades are the energies that help us go back and reclaim our power and energy that has been collecting over the years that we haven't known how to do the work. So that is how that works. And it just brings in all this magic and power and mysticism into your body. It creates natural, organic experiences and streams of wealth from within you so that you can generate them externally. When you understand and dominate your internal world, your external world becomes your wishes fulfilled. Always. Nothing can be withheld from you when you are fully aligned internally. All right, you all. Peace and blessings. I love y'all so very much. Bye-bye.